Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here and investing your time in improving your English and yourself. There are moments in a relationship when two people are still holding hands and still living under the same roof, but inside their hearts, they have been far away from each other for a long time. And this kind of loneliness inside a relationship is what pushes people toward choices they once believed they would never make. Not everyone who cheats starts with the intention to betray, and sometimes everything begins quietly, just from the feeling of not being seen anymore, not being listened to anymore, and not being important anymore in the eyes of the person they once saw as their whole world. And then the real question is not why they are wrong, but why they still cross that line, even though deep inside they know exactly what is waiting on the other side. There are relationships that do not end with a breakup, but end with two people still being together while no longer truly touching each other's inner world. People still ask each other normal questions every day, still eat meals together, still watch movies together, but everything becomes just a habit and no longer carries real emotion. In this state, loneliness is no longer a temporary feeling, but becomes a normal part of daily life. And when people live too long with this emptiness, they start to accept it as normal. This normalization of loneliness makes people stop trying to fix it, and instead they only try to endure it until something or someone makes them feel alive again. And sometimes just a stranger who understands them in a few words is enough to shake the emptiness they have carried for too long in their current relationship. No one enters a wrong action without first telling themselves a story that makes it feel easier to accept. And cheating is the same. It rarely starts with irresponsibility, but more often starts with self-justification. People tell themselves that they are not being loved in the right way, that they deserve more care, and that what they are missing now is just a gap that needs to be filled. In their mind, at that time, the line between right and wrong does not disappear, but it becomes softer, easier to bend, and easier to break under long suppressed emotions. And when emotions are strong enough, people can turn things that are clearly wrong into things that feel understandable, even though deep inside they still know that understanding something is not the same as it being right. The most dangerous part is not the moment they cross the line, but the process of convincing themselves that crossing the line has a good reason. People are very easily affected by the feeling of being noticed, especially when they have not felt it for a long time in their main relationship. A simple question at the right time, a caring look, or even someone remembering small things about them can create a very different feeling, like they still have value in someone's eyes. This feeling is not strong at the beginning, but it builds up through each conversation, each sharing, and each moment when they feel understood without needing to explain too much. And this comfort slowly removes emotional boundaries in a quiet way, not loudly, not clearly, but enough for them not to notice how far they have gone. When emotions are fed in a place of lack, they do not need many reasons to grow. They only need a little care at the right moment. What is important is that in many cases, it is not because people stop loving, but because they no longer know how to talk about what they are missing. There are sad feelings that are never named, disappointments that are never mentioned, and wounds that keep building up without ever being truly fixed. Two people still live together but develop two different inner worlds, and over time, the distance between them is not about space, but about how they feel each other. When communication is no longer effective, people start looking for understanding somewhere else without realizing they are slowly replacing what should be fixed with a temporary escape. And this long silence in a relationship becomes the ground where outside connections can grow more easily than ever. At some point, people realize that no relationship is completely bad and no wrong action is completely without reason, but that does not mean everything can be justified. Cheating always leaves pain, not only for the person left behind, but also for the person who crosses the line, because they have to live with the conflict between their emotions and their awareness. Some people later understand that what they truly lacked was not another person, but a real connection in their original relationship that had been ignored for too long.
And some also realize that the moment of weakness is not the biggest problem, but the long emptiness before it that no one filled with the right care. But realizing this later does not make everything disappear. It only forces people to look at themselves more clearly, sometimes later than they hoped. In the end, the question is not only why people know something is wrong but still do it, but what feeling they were trying to escape in their own life at that moment. Because when someone feels understood, seen, and truly connected, they rarely look for it somewhere else, and every choice starts from the emptiness that no one managed to fill in time. And maybe the most important thing is not to judge the choices that have already happened, but to understand the emotions that led to them, so that similar stories do not need to repeat again. If you find this video interesting and helpful, please give me a like and subscribe.